Good morning, Lisa. How are you? We're on week 3 of this Pentecost series, and the topic today is hearing from God, or the gift of prophecy. And so you're a perfect person for this because I know you hear from God because we've prayed for a lot of people. So thank you for
Thanks for
doing
having
this.
me. Thanks.
Yeah, I met you and Tim, I think in December. So you guys kind of rolled into the church, and it's been awesome since then. But maybe tell us who you are, how you ended up in Colorado, what God's doing with you, your blood type, your PIN number on your debit card.
Well, yeah. So I'm Lisa, and Tim and I grew up in the Eugene Springfield area in Oregon.
So what's an Oregon person like? Like, are you anti-government and you have pot plants outside in your backyard? And
Oregon is very, very liberal. It's a very liberal state. But I would also say that for as liberal as it is, there's very conservative people also. And so you kind of have the loud edges in Oregon, in my opinion, in my personal opinion. And so I feel like Tim and I are very, where the Lord has us is very much in the middle, the radical middle, not just vineyard, but politically in everything.
Even in Oregon. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
I get the idea that some people in Oregon, like maybe rural Oregon, they're like almost survivalists, leave me alone, independent.
yeah.
And then in the cities, maybe it's more in your face, liberal kind of thing.
Yes. No,
Okay.
that's very true. Yeah. So we grew up in the Eugene Springfield area. We got married right after I got out of high school. And then Tim started surfing, and he's like, let's move to the coast. And I'm like, if I can find a job. And of course, then I found a job. And so we moved to kind of Lincoln County, so Lincoln City, Newport area in 95. And
so that's the coast of Oregon, like south of
Tillamook, north of Florence.
Okay. And way south of Astoria or Cannon Beach, those kind of places.
Yes.
Okay. So coastal Oregon is sort of the Oregon coast is cooler, and there's lots of cool rocks jutting out into the ocean. And do they actually have surfing there, or did Tim have bad information?
No, they had surfing. I mean, you have to have a wetsuit, and you have to be very stoic, and you have to be willing to go in all kinds of conditions if you actually want to go. And he loved it.
Yeah. So it's for like a diehard tough guy, not like a Southern California soaking in the rays kind of a guy.
Exactly.
Now, do you surf too, or is that more of a Tim thing?
I have surfed, but I prefer not to damage my body in that
way. Yeah, you don't like being bashed on the rocks.
I don't like being bashed on the head with your surfboard or trying to get past the break. So I like stand-up paddleboarding. That's very fun and I will do it out in the ocean, but it's a whole different game out in the ocean. But you're standing and you can do it at your own pace. And so that's kind of more my.
Do you have to watch out for whales or sharks or anything like that when you're doing stuff like that out in the ocean?
Yes. Yeah. In fact, my very first time out, I went to Otter Rock, and Tim was like, why don't you try surfing with me? And so we get out there, and he's like, okay, you do this and you do that, and I'll see you later. And so, he's over there catching waves, and I'm sitting outside, and it's getting dark, the sun is setting, and it's beautiful. I'm having this amazing experience just sitting out in the ocean. And there's a couple other guys right near me, and they'd be like, why don't you take this wave? And I'd be like, no, that's okay. You go ahead, and then they'll be like, this one. And then all of a sudden, this huge fish just jumps out right in front of me. And there's just one other guy at this point, and we both look at each other and we're like, I think it's time to go in now. And I'm like, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So no, it wasn't a shark, but it was just a fish. And we're like, why is he jumping? I'm not hanging out to find out.
Like, who's chasing him, kind of a thing. Yeah. And when you're wearing that wetsuit, it's probably a nice seal imitation. And the shark's like, I love seals. Do you come from a big family, or do you have siblings? Or
I come from a family of 3. So 3 siblings.
Okay.
So I'm the middle child of 3. And
So you're in the radical middle in your family too.
literally, I was the bridge between my sister and my brother.
Okay.
There's like 2.5 years between my sister and I, and 2.5 years between my brother and I.
Your parents sound very organized. Exactly 2.5 years. Huh?
I think that must have been God, because I don't think they're organized.
Your dad's not like a bookkeeper or something like that?
No, he was a garbage man.
Cool.
Yep, he was a
He
garbage
rode on the
man.
back of a garbage truck.
He actually drove it.
Oh, he drove. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And in the summer times, he would take me to the fair. So he'd come and get me from the house, and he'd be like, okay, you ready to go? And he would take each one of us a different day, and he would do his run at the fair, and then we'd go ride the rides and stuff like that.
Sounds like an awesome dad.
He was great.
All right. So you've met Tim. He's a crazy surfer, and now you're living on the coast of Oregon.
Yep. Living on the coast. We lived, we lived there right up until we moved here. And we did a lot. We've done a lot of different things. We owned a construction company, 2 different ones. He started his own, and then he joined someone else, and then we bought it from him. I was in dental assisting, and in the middle of doing construction, we bought a surf shop.
Okay.
And that was going to be our thing we did after we were done making money.
Millions. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
be a surf bomb.
Yeah.
And I'll just say that Tim, I know Tim's doing construction stuff again, and soon after you guys moved here, he said, hey, let me help you with your basement. Did some beautiful stuff. So if anyone out there needs construction stuff, I recommend him, and you can contact me, and I'll charge a finder's fee sometime.
That's right. Yeah, he just got a notification. He got his contractor's license here.
Okay, so that's official, huh?
We ended up letting the construction company go because of the economy. And then he was working full-time at the surf shop, and I was working at a dental office. And we had found the vineyard. So Lord had come in and miraculously done a huge healing in our hearts and our lives, and restored, just made our marriage new. And we're like, okay, if we're gonna really do this thing, we're gonna need to find a community of believers that can walk out this healing journey with us and love us, and where we can be transparent and vulnerable. And Holy Spirit, come.